Hello, welcome to the Learning Tree Reader Fair, Day 5, and I'm Meredith McGee, uh, a member of Learning Tree Book Club in Jackson, Mississippi.
Hello everyone, my name is Talia Hines. I'm 11 years old. I go to Jessamine Elementary School. I'm in the 5th grade and I'm also a member of the reading club too.
Vic, okay, so Vicky is also on here, and she's oh, she just dropped out. Okay, Talia, you gonna read it first?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Today I'll be reading Juneteenth Freedom Day by Miss Meredith McGee.
Thank you. That's my 11th book and 6th children book and my newest book. But federal holiday, Black liberation.
Once upon a time in the 19th century, on the 19th day of June in 1865, the English African in Janet, Texas heard the sweet news that President Abraham Lincoln signs the Occasion Progress to free them from the slavery.
But Thailand, it's a Emancipation Proclamation. Say that. Emancipation.
Exhibition.
No, Emancipation.
Emancipation.
Proclamation.
Proclamation. To free them from their enslavement. They also learned that Congress passed the 13th to the
amendment
to the
Constitution.
Constitution on January 31st, 1865. Within led slavery in the United States of America. People around the world heard the news of freedom before the news reached Galveston. People heard about freedom in the newspapers. White preachers announced the news to their congratulations, and youth General Jordan Gordon Gray read the
Emancipation Proclamation.
Emancipation Proclamation, a funeral order, out loud to enslaved Africans in Galveston. The enslaved Africans lived on an island that sandy beach away from the mainland. They worked 6 hours per day, 7 days a week, and they could not enjoy the beach. There was no radio, internet, or television in those days. The slavery did not know that the civil rights was over and that a federal law that federal all enslaved Africans in the country. They could not read. Post office workers in the South would not deliver Frederick Douglass newspaper. Mr. Douglass was a Black writer representing the Black press. The white power struck reject Black laboring, and any writer announced it. The newly freed African rejoiced. rejoined. They threw their hands up and jumped in the air and started celebrating their newfound freedom from the chain of bondage. They ran and shouted, "Hallelujah, hallelujah, thanks God. All men were our freedom from the burlesque chain of slavery." The following year, the Fred Freedom celebrated Freedom Day just as the farm enslavement was celebrated the 4th of July. Then they constantly won their independence from Great Britain in 1767, 76, I mean. Great Britain is known today as the United Kingdom of Great Britain and North Ireland. During slavery time, enslaved Africans upon an off day on the 4th of July. However, they were not free to travel to other parts of the state and country. They could not even travel across town without writing letters from their master. The 4th of July did not give them 4 million enslaved Africans who were living in the deep South. Independence there before Juneteenth was Freedom Day and independence from foreign slavery. Freedom Day, known as Jubilee Day, it meant
Was that Black Liberation?
I'm at where it says Freedom Day, known as Jubilee Day.
And then there's that Black Liberation?
No.
Hold on.
I'm at where it says number 4, all the way at the bottom.
On page 4?
Like the last sentence.
Emancipation. And Black
Independence Day was more important to former slaves than the July 4th of July. Color the woman whole and raise clothes. This is a symbol of power. Freedom is power. We celebrate Juneteenth because it was Freedom Day for enslaved Africans who were toiling the soil of the instant plantations in Gallatin, Texas, of Gulf of Mexico. Today, the Gulf of Mexico and ocean based in ma'am.
It's Galveston, Texas. It's a beautiful beach area. Okay, go ahead.
Today, the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean base of the secondary sea of the Atlantic Ocean is the activity transroutine in the 19th centuries. Shippers man transport humans, cargo, cotton, and grain to Galveston, Texas port. The Texas Navy used this port as a military shipping site during the Texas Revolution in 1835-36 against Mexico. Pirates used the port to drop of illegal checks for human Gulf Coast. The pirates stole the African from Africa. The African were sold as secret England markers in New Orleans after the United States banned the transport of humans cargo in the early 19th centuries.
Hey, Thailand, let me ask something. Do you understand what human cargo is? Hey, man. Do you understand what human cargo is?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
I hear it a lot, but I always trying to think what it is.
Okay. Now, okay, so on the ship, there's cargo on the ship. And for instance, the cargo could be like boxes of sugar or wheat or cotton. Human cargo was our ancestors who was taken from Africa and brought here to work for free. And I just want you to understand what human cargo was in terms of the story. You get it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Go to the next page now.
Thousands of years ago, the accident of main century use is trans routine. Today, thousands of goods such as sugar and bananas are traded along the Galveston, Texas routine. Galveston, Texas routine.
Okay, hold on, Tyler. You just passed by something though. Mayan civilization. Ancient Mayan civilization. There was a civilization of Indians who had running water and things like that. Hold on.
Okay.
Get it.
It's been Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States of America, signed the
Emancipation.
Emancipation Proclamation into law January 1st, 1863. Emancipation means freeing a person from slavery and setting someone free from legal, social, and political
limitations.
Slavery is a system of forced labor wherein the enslaved work without pay and without enough rest breaks. The people who won slavery were called masters. Slave masters were cruel to slavery persons. Slaves were overworked and treated like animals. Master provide food and house for slaves. But the slave master controls the money earned from the labor of slaves. Enslaved Africans could not go to the general store to purchase food or pieces of candy for their children or buy a gift for one of their family members. The system of slavery was not fair. Some politicians believe in slavery Africans should be freed. Others
politicians you see, you breaking it up.
Those in the South deserve Africans remain in slavery because slave vendors made them and their families super rich. The entire workforce no longer South plantations were enslaved Africans. South planters donate their international trade of cotton, which becomes known as King Cotton. Super rich individuals are like a family of 5 living in a beautiful house beautiful house with 30 rooms compared as a slavery family to have 5 living in one room house with holes in the wall there where they family sleep on blankets.
Let's stop right there. You see
The
that?
city of the United
Oh.
States of America fought as war over the incident of slavery. The American Slave War started on April 12, 1861. The Civil War ended May 9, 1865. Over 6,020 soldiers died on American soil during the 4-year war. The Southern soldiers carried the Confederate battle flag. The North soldiers carried the flag of the United States of America.
Charlie, that's a Confederate battle flag. But I want to see, you see that picture over there on page 8?
Americans and African and American fought in the Civil War on both sides. Some from enslaved Africans fought aside their master. Another ran away from the South and crossed into Ipan towards to fight with the Ipan warriors to free themselves and their race from the cruel and hardest incident of slavery. The Ipan soldiers were called Yankees. Jefferson Davis came to California War Navy. The California was also known as the Releville. They rebelled against the Punt and tried to start a separated country. The relevant incident, a new government, and even print their own money. Abraham Lincoln was the king in chief of the Punt War until he died April 15, 1865. From the wounds he received the process day of the foreign threat in Washington, D.C., from an assignment submitted by John Walker Booth, a famous stage actor. Mr. Bowles supported the Southern ways of life, which has kept the flow of money in the hands of the white power structure. He shot President Lincoln with a pistol and stabbed him with a dagger on the 4th of April. And this is, can't see the picture where he had to write a contract, but to end slavery, but it's like very little small words.
Okay.
And here's a picture of the history.
What page are you on?
Instructor Court of Library of Courtness, where it shows picture of children in their houses with their parents, in their school, and it shows Abraham Lincoln's president of the United States, commanding chief of the Army and Navy. Friend in that circle.
You on page 11?
And
you on there.
This is the person who kind of wrote some things about the Civil War back in the days.
You on 14?
It was legal to teach enslaved African how to read and write. There before, very few free or enslaved African in the country could read or write. Franklin Douglas' ability was who escaped to freedom and could read and write. He was smart. He read a newspaper. Franklin Douglas used his voice to write newspaper articles opposite the evil system of slavery.
Charlie Ann.
What?
Charlie Ann.
To the African slaves in your 4th of July. I answered, a day that revealed to him more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice of cruelty to which he is the custody victim. To him, Your celebrate is shame. Your boost library was unholy license. Your nation greatness, salesness, venom, and your sound of rejoice are empty and heartless. Your individual treatment brace found independable. Your shout of liberty was equal follow. Your prayers in harmony are soul and gift and thanksgiving with all your ridiculous parade and social are to him most bomb-based, frown, discovering independent and hardness and thin visuals to cover up criminals, which was discovery a native of slaves. There is not a nation to the earth government of practice more shot and bloodly there are the people of the United States of a very hour. Franklin Dove 1852. Franklin Dove was a virtual senator of a white racialist and policy leader in the nation in the 19th century. White Americans were the rural class of social in the fat white rural. America's social today. The rural class has the greatest influence over the laws. The laws control the social immense and poor except of social, and the city was divided into social. Social rental communities such as housing and school. A common is called for the trade, jobs, industry, and wealth. Poor relative to the government and public affairs, and there are local states and federal government rules the polity. And here's a picture of Juneteenth history mark except entered by the state of Texas.
Okay. Can you read it? I have
Freedom Day becomes famously known as Juneteenth. Juneteenth is the longest running African American celebration in the United States of America. The United States of America. Juneteenth is known as a Jubilee Day. And
emancipation.
A popular
emancipation
and Black independence was a history more important to the African American than the 4th of July is celebrated after the end of the slavery. The 4th of July becomes a part of popular countries. Therefore, also today, almost Americans include Black people celebrate the 4th of July holiday. After the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Albert, Rain Sharon Book, and others, the Black Lives Matter movement, rapeless city protects natural and innocent against police brilliant in this country because violence against African Americans. Since this Juneteenth become a natural city holiday, increasing African Americans have made Juneteenth rather than the 4th of July their day of independence celebration. Since the pack of 2020 Black violence and mass shooting have increased across the country. Even post Black on Black violence, criminals as always a master shooting. Put down the guns. Let's spread love for self, race, and humankind. Juneteenth 1865 become my increased were free in 1776. That's a lot. We must live together or perish together as brothers, as fools, by Martin Luther King Jr. There are 12 perennial federal holidays in the United States of America. Number 1, New Year's Day in 1985. Number 2, Martin Luther King Day by Ronald Reagan in 1983. Number 3, Easter Day obvious every 4th year, 1957, and President's Day, 1879, and Memorial Day or this Community Day 1888, 6 Juneteenth by Joan Biden in June of 2021, 7 Independence Day or July 4th, 1967, Labor Day 1894, and Columbus Day 1968, Veterans Day, also known as Audience Day 1938, Thanksgiving 1941, Christmas 1885. Early Juneteenth celebrated in Texas includes prayer service as list of speakers and people reading of the Equation Policy Parade, singing and dancing. In recent years, there has been a absolute informed natural of African Americans to polite Black business artists, clothes designers, service authors, and education instructors. The receiving of Black business recover and increasing recycle after patients in the George Floyd recycled Black dollars spread across the nation in late May of 2020. African Americans can use this holiday to educate oneself on Black history and conserve it through the book museum tour and other festivals. Juneteenth, like Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday, is a staple time of ending his service. People can pick up trash on the street, blocks at the park, and people can visit nursing homes and hospitals and write letters to prisoners. Prisoners lose their freedom. Prisoners research of their bonus in cells and cell blocks like the enslaved and Galveston were found to their in this position. And I'm gonna read the rest of the page later.
Okay. Okay, so Vicky, you I see you got Lily Dollar. I'm gonna read a few pages of As Brave as They Are, and then you could read some of Lily Darling and all right. Oh, this Thailand get on. Hold on. Okay, so this is As Brave as You Are, Jason Reynolds, and I was on page 36 Friday. Let's see. No internet service, no computer. This was bad news, and not just for Ernie, but for Jenny too. How was he gonna look stuff up now? He'd added at least 16 new questions to his notebook since breakfast, mostly about being blind. Now what was he going to do? So you might as well put that thing down and let her go, Ma advised. She wasn't good enough for you anyway. Good luck with 2 Train, sweetheart. Boss swatted the air, shooing the memory of Ernie's ex-girlfriend away. What kind of rap name is 2 Train anyway? Dad reeled the conversation back in again. Not important, Ernie. Tell your little brother about how it went down when you first met Grandpa, he grinned. And his way was worse than yours, Jenny. Ernest tossed his phone into the bed, looking tickled. I don't even remember it. Y'all just say this is what happened because it did happen. But I was 4. I know. Dad was clearly getting to know about all of Ernie's back talk. Forget it. I'll tell him. See, Jenny, Ernie was acting a fool, just like he is now. Ernie sucked his teeth, so I told him if he could just stay quiet, play the quiet game, Ma clarified. Be a sleuth. Jenny tossed in the pot. Right. If he could play the quiet game for 20 minutes, I would take him to McDonald's. French fry bribery. That was how their parents always used to make deals with them. So Ernest on the floor, sleuth silent, and I'm talking to your grandma. Grandpa was in the bathroom. Next thing I know, the old man came out to join us and tripped over your brother. Grandpa fell right on his face, Ma added, putting stacks of Jenny and Ernest clothes an entire month's worth in the drawer of the blue dresser. Ernest in the middle drawer, Jenny's in the bottom. The top drawer was reserved for random items, handheld pencil sharpeners, school glue, basket tape, abnormally small screwdrivers, things like that. I thought we killed him, she blurted. But you were okay. Nothing could damage that big head, Dad said with a laugh and threw a balled up pair of socks at him. Ernie chopped them away. You remember what Grandpa said after he fell? Ernie sat up. Didn't he say something about me winning the McDonald's? Yeah. He said you deserve a week's worth of McDonald's because you were so quiet. A blind man couldn't even hear you, Dad finished. And that's how your grandfather told Ernie he was blind. Right there on the floor with a bloody lip. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's how he likes to do it. It's just his way. Jenny glanced at Ernie with his toughest face, the one where he tightened his eyes, and you didn't tell him. It's your grandpa's rules, Dad reiterated. And trust me, I learned from a young age not to break my daddy's rules. So we made Ernie promise not to tell you. Plus, we just didn't want you to be all worried about staying here. Jenny had to give it to his parents. They knew him well. He had worry issues. And y'all still owe me some nuggets or fries or something for that. But I'll take $10 instead. Ernest said now. Dad shot him a look, then noticed all the this ain't cool on Jenny's face because 5 minutes ago, Jenny hadn't been worried about staying. But now, I promise you're okay here, Jenny. You really think me and your mom would leave you here if we didn't think you were going to be fine? Dad palmed his knees. Plus, the old man ain't bad for being blind. He could do just about everything. He stood up and stretched his arms over his head, leaning to the left, then to the right, working the stiff out of his back. He can't drive a car, Jenny said sharply, flipping the toy truck in his hand. Well, Dad paused as he brought his arms down and waved a finger at Jenny. Careful with that, I'm serious. He can't drive a car, Jenny, setting the truck down gently on the floor. His father shoved his hands in his pocket. I guess you're right about that, he can't. Dad glanced at Mom, who just shrugged. So then, he can't do everything. Jenny had proven his point. When he finished unpacking their clothes, Ma told the boys to put the suitcase back in the car, which really meant leave grown folks to grown folks' business As soon as they got outside, Samantha started barking like crazy. They both jumped a mile. Okay, I'm gonna stop there and let you go. Vicky, I'm on page 40 now. Oh, I read two pages. Vicky, we can't hear you.
Am I
Okay,
muted? Huh?
we can hear you now.
Okay. I
Okay.
am with, like I said, my Lily Darling, and it is by, who is she?
Malaysia Smith.
Malaysia Smith. Chapter 1. Don't let them see you cry. 7:00 a.m. It takes everything not to reach over and hit the snooze button on the clock again. It is rough for the second time this morning. I'm pretty sure I'll be late. If I do so, I decide against prolonging the inevitable. I turn on my back, stare at the ceiling fan, and I drift off momentarily, only to be awakened from the sounds of my own snoring. I lift my body to the left and my feet hang on the side of the bed. 7:05. This Monday starts like every other typical school day. I am in my closet contemplating what I wear. I don't care now. Anytime I tell myself I pick up my school clothes the night before, I never do. Every school morning, I find myself back in the closet, staring at the same clothes, waiting for an outfit to put on. Sometimes I pretend, in which I twirl and swirl in my swirl and twirl my fingers around, hoping again for the deeply blurred magical power. My supernatural power hasn't worked yet. Hey, there is no harm in trying. My contemplated process of selecting my outfit to wear for the school, it won't be necessary. If I live in the world from judging, picking the outfit, it would be easier. I could pick my own shirt, my own lay around in the same judging pants, and I come comfortable on the side, come comfortable on the side ends. The processing, judging, the process, and I'm sorry, the outfit would be easy to pick old shirt laying in the ground, laying around. From jogging pants and comfortable pair of slide-ins, there is a process on simple and yet the comfortable pair of how I like it. The way I said school already is hard enough getting through the pain of trying. And I find the outfit that makes me look thinner and almost impossible. However, in this day and age, I don't dare cause wearing the wrong color panties alone is entire outfit. Wearing the wrong panties, pants, let alone an entire outfit. I finally go with a pair of stone washed skinny jeans and gray Converse, complemented by a unique Mickey Mouse top. It ain't any, and it isn't my sweatpants and slide-ons, but it will have to do. Plus, it happens to be the second favorite outfit. 7:15. My heart pounds harder than normal as I start the digital clock, sitting alone on the nightstand in my bedroom. I search frantically for my book bag and my jacket. It is only after throwing away my clothes, it is all over my bedroom floor. And I suddenly remember my mom telling me she put them down both in her bedroom closet, and inevitably left them in her car when she took off for work. I pretended to be sick, although I hate myself for lying to my mom, and I couldn't just muster up enough energy to ensure another moment at school. It was one of those days when everything seemed to get wrong. Before my feet hit the ground, I was already defeated. Days like that, I wish I would sleep and just escape the prison inside my head, where my thoughts kept me from captivity. Though the constantly tells me I'm not good enough, and convinces me that my exercise isn't that important. My bed was a strain, and that it caused me to forget where my belongings were that day. It caused me to be almost inopportune time for lying by my mom and being sick. I run outside with my book bag and jacket. My heart goes from pounding louder than Africa trouble. From the African tribal drum to dead silence, and my heart stops beating for a moment. I glance at the gathering crowd of the students at the bus stop. Everyone is accounted for. And made things worse, the twins who rarely ride the bus are here, bright and early this morning. Zoe and Can are identical twins, or Can are identical twin brothers and sister. Can plays the junior varsity basketball team. Zoe plays mostly keeps to herself, usually with a novel and some other in her hand. They are younger and older than me in the 8th grade, but they're pretty cool. I'm absolutely hated when they decide to ride the bus instead of getting dropped off by the parents. They only catch the bus on an average about twice a week. If I'm really lucky, then that obviously today is not my lucky day. The twins and I never had any falling out, but when they ride the bus, they sort make my life a living hell because it means that they occupy 2 seats already covered and picked up. It means that they occupy the 2 seats together, and it would not be possible but it would not possibly be mine. Usually means that I am walking the Green Mile. The Green Mile consists of drudging, walking down the aisle of the bus, asking one student after another if I can sit down. Can I sit in this group? The twin speaks to me in unison over the chatting of the clothes of the other kids standing around. I wave my hand to greet them. In the same moment, I can hear the squeaking of the brakes in our school bus approaches. Flashing yellow and red lights already at the stop sign, spring around the door and opens as I watch the other students at the stop sign climb up the steps of the bus ahead of me. And I only hope that there is available seat left. I won't only have to hear them self-absorbed, tormenting, picking, telling me I can't sit down. But I'm also have to hear from those vivid details. Why? I swear some of the stuff they say is crazy, but somehow has me questioning myself. I have heard that I'm too fat to sit down with them, and they would take up the whole row seat, and I would take up the whole row seat, the whole seat. I now, when I sit down, say to keep my body from touching whoever I am sitting with. Such is very difficult task because Mr. Harrison, a bus driver, likes auditioning, likes auditioning the gig at the Grand Theft Auto. I've always been told that I stink. I've always been told that I stink of eating cat litter, which I sometimes is, I can't even imagine that, which I sometimes rotate down on, when I rotate, don't any pet alone a cat. So I started with showering that morning and using the same day, the same of my mom's Victoria's Secret Guarantee Freshness. I had a classmate in college. I'm stopping right there. I have a classmate in college, bless her heart. She was under the same kind of threat. She was heavy set, but everybody in the dormitory was so against her. They said the same things toward Lakeisha. You know, you're sweating, you're nasty. And she would not be allowed to be with any of the classmates. I took her in, so she was with me and she felt better, but she was against all the other classmates, were so negative toward her. And that's what I'm getting from this too here.
Yeah, Lily she was bullied.
Yeah, she was
they
bullied.
They were just so mean. They wouldn't even let her sit beside them on the bus. You know, kids can be so mean.
And that's what my college classmate was. She was being bullied because she was
in college. Oh, in college.
Yes, in college. Yes. And she was heavy set. Yes. Now, you know, she cleaned twice a day, showered twice a day, but for some reason, her body odor or whatever did not fit in with the other classmates. They still bullied her, and bless her heart, she was just terribly upset, and I can appreciate that. So, but anyway, yeah, she was very bullied in college. Just like I always took my shower at night. And maybe somehow I was secreting body fluids that made odor in my sleep. Yeah, I take extra precaution, extra measures. However, quickly I learned that a fresh bath in the morning and some very good smelling perfume was not going to stop constant belittling. That those alien dishes out of every morning, I call them as aliens because there are no way any human could be so mean. Again, the bullying is the reason I wish the twins had rode to school with their parents. They take a little of the twins to secure the seat of my own. Someone doesn't think making someone sit lower than the dirt is cool. That's definitely bullying. As I get on the bus, I muster as much courage as I can. But as I look from the front of the bus to the back of the bus, already crowded, I have a little hope. hang on the disappearing of quickly. Every step down the Green Mile feels like a little bit of life taking from me. I see the twins sitting together, all cozy, the front of the bus, and I shake my head in disappointment, regretting not getting the first time on the bus regretting not getting up the first time at the alarm went off. The first seat available belonged to Michelle Link. Michelle Licker sits alone in the middle of the bus. Michelle is obvious a seventh grader whose arrogance counters room before she steps a foot herself. You would think that with a high self-esteem, she would be extremely beautiful. But the truth be told, Michelle is mediocre, say the least. Mediocre, say the least. She is not noticeably frail, thinning, but you would think her shoulder length hair. She wears clothes that's tighter than necessary, as if she's trying to produce her assets, and she doesn't possess by squeezing them into existence. Her face is covered enough, which would have made her perfect model, provocative, commercial. The only thing more concerning than her usual skinniness would take a trip and take a think to figure those who illustrate a lot of heavy-handed when it came to drawing her feet. I'm gonna stop right there because the chapter itself is kind of long.
Okay, what page is that, Vicky?
The page itself is 5.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I can read some more.
Oh, that'd be fine. You can pick up where you started, and we can let Mary read.
Okay, so that's page 5. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I love that book. It has a great ending. You ever read it to the end?
No, I decided I would take this book so I can read it to the end this week. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you will be able to read it to the end this week because that's a novella, a short novel.
Yeah, that's why I chose this. I could finish this at the end of this week. So that's why I chose this.
I wish I was that smart. Look at my book. I'm not gonna finish it. Page 14. Well, look, I borrowed it from the Learning Tree Book Club. It ain't my book. Okay, Mary, you ready?
I'm going to read Uncle Hubbard and the Burlap Sack.
All right. We were just talking about burlap sacks at the book club meeting last month. Now you have a picture of a burlap sack in that book.
I have a drawing.
Cause
Yeah, yeah, I
a
remember,
burlap
yeah.
sack, you can put cotton in it, but if you made a dress out of it, you'd have to put a lining on it, right?
That's right, because it has little holes in it. I'm just thinking. Yeah. I have little small burlap sacks at the store. It's when I sell my book, I put the book inside of a sack.
Okay.
And I don't have. I have a burlap, but I have my mother made purses. Made a purse for me out of a burlap sack. So I do have one here. I have the
Oh
purse.
yeah, so she was recycling.
No, I bought burlap. I bought the different colors. I bought the brown, green, and pink in burlap. So
No, I mean when your mama made the purse, was she recycling something from that was used for something else to make a purse with? That's what I was saying.
no, I gave her the
Oh, you
fabric,
gave her the
the
material, the
burlap
fabric.
fabric that I purchased. Yeah,
Where did you purchase it at?
I purchased it online. I think I just went to burlap.com
Oh, okay.
online, and I found it in the different colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm
I am at home, so I might, if I get through
Oh.
reading, I'll go see if I can find. I know what the purses are.
Okay.
All right, so Uncle Hubbard and the burlap sack.
Hold on, Uncle. Hold that up for me. Oh, okay. I'll just try to make sure.
Got it. Okay. So do I just read a portion? Just
You can read half of it, the other half on your second, because we are reading twice, at least.
okay, but
Yeah.
your time is moving.
It is, isn't it? That's because we started late. I think it was 10 minutes late or something.
All right, so the book is dedicated to my daughters, Adrian, Miranda, and Manami, and my grandchildren.
Hello.
Okay, and you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
It reads, "Hello, children. Allow me to take you on an adventure to a sandy and hilly countryside with gravel roads that are narrow and endless. We'll be going on an adventure to the place where I lived my young and early adult years. The place was a farm owned and managed by my grandfather and father at a time when you had only a mule to do the plowing. So get ready. Come travel down memory lane to Southern Holler, where I grew up and had the best summers of my life. I could say the best years of my life. Let me introduce you to my Uncle Hubbard and his burlap sack. It has been a long time, and my memory is oh, all right. Well, anyway, family and friends were close to one another. The people were purposeful with plenty to do. The grown-ups were poised and always ready for what life brought each day. And what life brought each day for me back then were friends and family. Sullivan Holler was especially aromatic during the summer months, when the green gardens blossomed with the flowers of fruit trees, and ripening vegetables. The air was rich with their pollen and perfume. The big orange and golden yellow blossoms of the honeysuckle vines were the hummingbird's favorite flower, and mine too. Over and around and through many gardens' fences, the honeysuckle vines flourished and gave their fresh fragrance on the winds of the warm countryside. Bumblebees buzzed between the bushes and bushes of bountiful blossoms and buds. They zipped and zapped and zigzagged here and there, and then everywhere. In the gardens, the grown-ups planted big heads of lettuce and cabbage, ruby red radishes, patches of carrots, and skinny strings of sweet peas and beans. In the large fields next to the family home and playground, my friends and I could find watermelons, cantaloupes, corn, cucumbers, field peas, and tomatoes as big as baseballs. I remember how my mama would make valuable use of all the vegetables we grew in the garden. She made potato soup tastier by adding fresh sweet peas, green beans, and carrots while she stirred, stewed, and hummed. This was how she made sure we got all the vegetables we needed to grow up as big and strong as the grown-ups. But do you want to know something? I really did not like anything green, especially vegetables. If it was green and Mama said it was good for me, then I didn't want to eat it. Well, I cannot really say that I hated everything green, because my most favorite green thing to eat when I was growing up were green apples and plums. I would pass by a tremendous apple tree daily on my way to feed the pigs, or when I was coming home from the field for lunch. I would eat the apples straight from the tree till my face was sticky with their green juice. Sometimes I would wait until I got home and let Mama bake an apple in the oven until it was soft and the aroma filled the kitchen. You want me to continue or stop?
You can read a couple more pages.
Baked green apples were the best lunch to have in the summer. Mama fussed and mused at me for not eating enough food, enough other foods. Baby, you're going to be malnourished. You know you're not eating alive and grow up at all, she would say. But here I am, all grown up. I survived. Sullivan Hall was best known for its sweet peaches, green sour apples, and purple muscadine grapes. Although time has passed and I only get a chance to be around every once in a while, I can still remember the charming smell and sweet taste of those muscadines. That's probably a good place to stop.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mayor. Thanks for joining us, Janice, and you can read next, and then Charlie Ann is after you. Turn your volume so we can hear you. She didn't. Oh, turn your volume on. Oh, you got it now. Okay.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank
Last
you.
time I was reading, yes. Last time I was reading about Aretha Franklin. This is a book by Meredith Oaks. And Oaks is sharing the lifetime story of the Queen of Soul. I had stopped off on page 9, talking about Aretha Franklin's first husband. And I indicated that the record shows that he was a pimp. And of course, Aretha during the time was in rebellion for a number of things against her father. But the main thing was because her mother was no longer in the home. And she was a young child, I think around the age of 6, when the mother and the father did not make it. So Aretha harbored that for many years and perhaps throughout her entire life. But that's where we are at this point in terms of Aretha having married Ted White, who has gone down in history as a pimp. But of course, at one point, he was her manager. This is a close-up picture of Ted White. And of course, he's on the trail with Aretha in reference to her singing career. In 1968, the city was still reeling from the previous summer's 12th Street riot, one of the worst in American history. Michigan Governor George Romney called in the state's Army National Guard. President Lyndon Johnson called in 2 Army Airborne divisions. Up until then, Mayor Kavanaugh had been considered a Democratic presidential hopeful, but his political loss paled in comparison to the death and destruction left in the riot's wake. Even Jovan Battle's record shop, which he'd moved to 12th Street after his original location, was gutted to make room for the Chrysler Freeway, was destroyed, along with priceless unreleased recordings. It never reopened, and he died 5 years later. So many of Detroit's thriving Black neighborhoods, including North End, Paradise Valley, and Black Bottom, were essentially paved over by the building of the interstate system and so-called urban renewal projects. Riots ended much of what was left. Aretha's music in that era spoke to a nation grappling with social change. But for Detroit, their hometown artist was as important as her message. Aretha moved back for good in 1982. Her father, shot during a 1979 home invasion on LaSalle, was left in a persistent coma, and she was in a period of personal and professional transition. She divorced her second husband, actor Glenn Turman, in 1984, the same year Reverend Franklin died. Conversely, her career took off again in the 1980s. She also developed an acute fear of flying during this time. A shaky trip in a prop plane from Atlanta to Detroit left her ground-bound for the rest of her life, traveling with her entourage in a luxury bus. She bought an expensive manse in Bloomfield Hills, a Tony Detroit suburb, installed heavy bars on the windows, and at times lived like a recluse. Yet, she had a way of showing up locally when needed and rarely missed a chance to give her city its propers. She shot the music video for her 1985 Grammy-winning hit Freeway of Love in front of Doug's Body Shop, a car-themed bar on Woodard Avenue between 8 and 9 Mile. The video celebrated the city and the auto industry with glimpses of Big Three signage, dancers dressed as auto workers, and a quick shot of the old Motown studio house, ending with Aretha driving into the sunset in white furs and a pink Cadillac. In 1987, WrestleMania III came to Pontiac, Michigan, around 5 miles from her house, and there was Aretha on a grand piano with 3 backup singers, opening the show with America the Beautiful for a live audience of more than 93,000. Also used was Who's Zooming Who as a theme song. When WrestleMania returned to Michigan 2 decades later, she reprised her act. From the dawn of her fame, Aretha gave concerts to raise money for causes she cared about. And throughout her life, she contributed to Detroit's food banks and churches, especially New Bethel, where she appeared at periodic revivals that included catfish, ribs, and greens for all. Aretha gave to 3 or 4 churches $10,000 to $12,000 at a time. Reverend Robert Smith Jr., New Bethel's pastor, said. She was all about feeding the poor, and on top of that, she would have programs where you could come in and eat from 4 in the evening to 1 o'clock in the morning. She also supported local businesses that she liked. A customer of Harmony House, Michigan's largest chain of family-owned record stores. She said yes when they asked her to do a television commercial for their 50th anniversary in 1997. She requested that her fee be donated to a Detroit women's shelter. Her only other requirements were a limo and barbecue, which she must have enjoyed because she went off script with an ad-lib finger snap and sang respect at the end of the commercial. Aretha rooted for Detroit's home teams too, opening events like the Tigers Game 3 of Major League Baseball's ALC Championship in 2001, and the Pistons Game 5 of the NBA Finals in 2004. When Super Bowl XL was held at Ford Field, she sang with Dr. John and Aaron Neville and spoke out about the fact that halftime contained no Motown talent. But the apogee of her sporting performances was the Thanksgiving game kickoff on November 24th, 2016. A photo of Aretha singing in terms of what I just read. Seated at a grand piano, she performed the national anthem in a pom-pom top Detroit Lions ski cap with matching blue nail polish, wrapped in a chinchilla coat with enough piano and vocal flourish to fill up 4 minutes and 35 seconds, more than twice the song's average length. The Twitter's verse lit up, and the looks on the faces of the players, a mix of reverence and bafflement as it just kept going, was priceless. So was the rainbow that appeared suddenly and stretched across Ford Field during a moment of silence in her memory before the Tigers' winning game on August 21st, 2018. When she showed up for her country, Aretha often brought with her a piece of home. She performed at inaugural events for Presidents Carter, Clinton, and Obama, most memorably the 2009 inauguration of the latter, when she sang My Country, 'Tis of Thee, beneath the infamous gray crystal-studded bow hat designed by Motor City millionaire Luke Song. Even when she wore other designers, she had longtime hairstylist Carlton Northern, a Detroit lifer, along to provide a suitable coif for her over the top fashions, including her now classic performance at the 2015 Kennedy Center Honors. When Aretha began to have serious health issues in 2010, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, she had surgery to remove a tumor and dropped 85 pounds. She kept her status on lockdown, but turned to Detroit's religious community, asking friends and City Councilor Joanne Watson to host a prayer vigil for her at City Hall. Aretha chose which minister she wanted there and specified that they should be instructed only to pray and not to talk to the press, according to Watson. Aretha never talked about being sick, as if admitting it was antithetical to fighting it. But at a 2012 benefit for Hackensack University Medical Center in New Jersey, where she sang a tremendous 90-minute set on the banks of the Hudson River for nearly 4,000 survivors and caregivers, she issued a rare statement on the subject. Cancer patients, too, often feel socially isolated as a result of their disease. So building a strong sense of community and a support network is especially important. No one should have to go through cancer feeling alone. Illness slowed her down, but music propped her up. Booked to perform at the 30th anniversary celebration of Detroit's Chene Park on August 22nd, 2015, she didn't make it on stage until 10:30 p.m. Her performance that night, though, was 2 hours strong, including a sprawling jazz ensemble, a wardrobe change, and a 10-minute long version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. Situated by the Detroit River, where she lived the last few months of her life, Chene Park had grown to be a major entertainment hub and attraction. Days after her funeral, the city council declared its name would be changed permanently to Aretha Louise Franklin Park. Her final full concert was the inaugural Detroit Music Weekend on June 10, 2017. Created to help bolster the local economy and celebrate Motor City music and culture, they badly needed a headliner, and Franklin wanted to help. She talked about it possibly being her last concert, but didn't discuss her diminishing health. So when she kept canceling and then recommitting, including on the day of the show, it further stoked the cancer rumors. 2 days before the festival, a noticeably thinner Franklin was moved to tears as she watched the naming of Aretha Franklin Way, the stretch of Madison Avenue between Witherill and Brush Streets that runs by the Detroit Opera House. A year earlier, the section of Linwood Street near New Bethel was renamed for her father, as was nearby LaSalle Park. And I'm instructed here to refer you to page 105 regarding that honor, page 105.
You hold up a little bit. Hold it just up a little. Oh, I see it now. Oh, she was there. That was nice. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was thinking I was holding it enough. But I'll stop there. She was able to make it to that particular celebration in her honor. And we could see from the photo a different Aretha in an older time period.
Yes, and the thing that I really admired about her is I read that she never left Detroit. She stayed there her entire life, and the fact that she would do anything to support the city economically is just great. And a lot of cities, if we could have that kind of love from those who come from it, who end up being wealthy, we would make a lot of headway. We would go a longer way. But anyway, thank you for that. I just love Aretha Franklin. Yeah.
Yes, I think so many, perhaps everybody, but so many loved her. I think based on what you just pointed out, she never forgot home, and she was down to earth because of the life that she lived. So I believe based on that, she could relate to so many different people, starting with her family and all of the folk who came to the home to be part of what was going on there with her father and mother, and then with her father over many years after the mother went on. But to see so many people from the grassroots come through with their singing abilities, Ray Charles and others, and how she was able as a young girl to sit up on the steps of the home and look down and watch them all in celebration. And she just took up wings and started that singing. Of course, her mother and father were great singers. But to just see all of the folk flocking in the house, that was just exciting, not only for her, but for her three siblings, because they too were great singers. And the brother Cecil was her manager. And over time, of course, the other siblings died, and Aretha by many years continued going on with her career and actually being blessed in the world, in these two worlds, the secular and the religious communities. And then to go all over the world, she would say constantly when she was interviewed that her father wanted her to go international. He didn't want her to just stay with an organization or corporation like Motown. He wanted her to move on all over the world. And so that encouragement was good for her, Aretha Franklin. So I'll stop there in terms of the reading and talking.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Okay, so Tyler, I see you got another book. Maybe you could read about 5 pages.
I don't think he heard you.
Tyler, is your you gonna finish Juneteenth? Is your speaker on? For some reason I can't hear you. It's
She frozen? There she
are
is.
you okay? Go ahead, Tyler. reason I can't hear him. Say something, Tyler Ann. You're gonna have to move to a different spot. You're not getting good reception where you are. Yep. Move to another spot. See if we can hear you. Okay. I guess you'll come back. Now, Janice, Aretha never was with Motown, right?
I think at one point she was with Motown, and of course, Smokey Robinson was one of her. I don't know if I can say one of her mentors, but they were children growing up and moving on in terms of the world of music. And I remember he referred to her when she passed on the day of the celebration that she was his little sister.
Oh.
And so I think, baby, we know the story of Smokey Robinson and his music. So I think there was some kind of connection with the Motown situation.
Okay.
But
You ready,
father,
Tyler? Okay. Yeah, I still can't hear. Can't hear you. No, it's still a bad connection. Okay. I'm gonna read a page or so of mine till she come back. I'm on page 40. As Babe as You by Jason Reynolds. And they just discovered the two boys that their grandfather is blind. And they're gonna spend the summer with the grandfather and the grandmother in Virginia. Let's see.
Now,
Yes.
okay. In 1979, the United States of Texas made Juneteenth an official holiday. So far, Juneteenth is a paid holiday in English, Las Vegas, Maine, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Orlando, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Louisiana. Today, African American families raise an awards about Juneteenth freedom by discovering signs and placing them in their yards and spreading knowledge of this history of African American Jubilee, which begins June 19, 1865, is Galveston, Texas. Every year, Juneteenth is celebrated on the third Saturday in June. The Juneteenth federal holiday was signed into law June of 2021 by President Joe Biden. President Joe Biden is the 46th president of the United States. Mr. Biden served the victim president during President Barack Obama is the term of 2009-2017 in office. Mr. Obama was the 44th president. His father was an African from the country of Kenya. His mother was born a white United States of America citizen. Red for our blood and struggle black for our people of color, green for the land. The Black Liberty Flag includes the color red, black, and green. The colors represent different beliefs which are listed below the flag. Still breaking chains. Black Lives, June 19, 1865. The kind of African American families celebrate Black Liberty on June 19, 2020 in Washington, D.C. near the White House. The Black art on Rome House is disabled of reckless pride. James Brown saying, "Say it loud, I am Black, say it proud." Proud means one has high opinion of one itself and one important. In 2019, we were 49.8 million Black people in the United States. Black people were 14% of the policy, have reckless pride, connect to fight for equality. Galveston, Texas is an island located along the Gulf of Mexico. Galveston was once the center of trade in the state of Texas and was one of the largest cotton crop in the country. A pier was built to connect the lands to the Texas mainland in 1860. Hold on, so many activities in here. Texas is a large state. Write Texas as on the map, then write the state recognizes the black map. Probably look at the map on page 25 to receive guide. The map is all the states. Consul of the United States of America, the laws of his country are based on the principle run over 200 years ago. And that's the end of Juneteenth. So
Okay.
Like activity.
Okay, when you do your activities, can you show them to us tomorrow? And when you do, if you do a poem, I would like for you to present the poem at the in the poetry contest the day after Thanksgiving. It's gonna be on Zoom.
Okay.
And then if you do a speech and a poem, I'd like for you to say the speech during, at the festival.
Yes, ma'am.
And, please read the, say the word, Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes, investigation and proclamation.
Yeah,
I got like a bag pronouncing word.
it
That's
was
a long, hard word.
yes, a lot of long.
Emancipation.
Yes, that's a big, long word, Emancipation Proclamation. And guess what? We're all learning.
Mhm.
And I'm over 50. That's what it's all about, reading and learning.
That's it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And thanks for reading with us. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Because you was the last reader. It's almost 4 o'clock. And you sharing with us that you completed your all of your activities. That's in your book. What that mean? What does this mean?
But
Free.
now,
Yeah, well, what does it mean?
free at
It means-
last.
It's a symbol of power.
Power. A symbol of power.
Happiness, liberty, and
Always
justice.
says black power. Yeah.
That's right. Okay then. Well,
I found, Meredith,
uh-huh.
I found that the burlap sack purse.
Okay,
that
let
my
me
mother
I see
made.
it.
That's it. That's burlap.
Oh,
Oh,
wow,
that's
so,
nice.
All
I
right.
like that.
that's woven
That's
real
nice.
fine.
Yeah.
It's not like the cotton sack with the bigger holes in it. I didn't know burlap came in that many different kind. That almost looks like wool.
Well, yeah, but the I know what you're talking about. They're not big holes. They're larger than these,
Right.
but they're not
I see what you're saying.
the original burlap.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Wow. That's what I want to learn how to do one day is I would like to design a nice leather bag and make it into a brand. That's just a dream of mine.
Okay, well, you can do it. You can do it.
All right, then. Well, see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
All right. Bye.
All right.